Hi guys, hope you're fine and doing well. So today we will be discussing this problem from the LeetCode, which is number of good ways to split a string. So it is the 16th problem of the dynamic programming series. So if you haven't watched the previous videos, you can consider watching them since it will be really helpful for you to understand the concepts in the upcoming videos. And if you are new to this channel, you can consider subscribing it and pressing the bell icon so that you don't miss any of the upcoming updates. So let's get started with this question. So the question tries to say that we are given a string S and we have to return the number of good splits. So what is a good split? It is basically when we are given a string S and we can divide it into two substrings, namely left and right. And if we concatenate both this left and right substring, so they should result into the original string S that we are given. And the other condition is that the total number of distinct characters in the left substring and in the right substring. So in case they are equal, so it contributes to a single good split. So hence we are required to find the total number of good splits that we can make. So let's have a look at the example. So in this example, if we divide it into this part, so in the left substring, it has one distinct character, and in the right, there are three. So obviously 1 and 3 are not equal. So this is not a good split. So what we need to do here is, like, if we split in this format. So in this format, in the left there are two distinct characters, and in the right there are also two distinct characters. So hence it contributes to a single type of good split. So if we look at the total good split possible for this string, they are two. So now let's see how we can approach to this problem. So now if we try to think of a brute force or a knife solution, what will it be? It will be simply that we will apply a single for loop from I equal to 0 to I less than n and I plus plus. So I here n is the length of the string s. And what we will do is we will create two strings. So the first string will be left, which will be from 0th index to ith index, and string right will be from I plus 1 to n. Ideally, it should be n minus 1 because when we are standing at the last index, so right string will simply be 0. So we have got these two strings. So like if we are standing at the first I, so what will be the left string? It will be the left string, and this will be the right string. And if we move on to, like, say I equal to 4, so from 0 to 4, this is one, and the other is this. So this is how we are forming these substrings, left and right. And now what we are required to do is we will simply iterate over this left. Let's create a variable c1 and c2. So we will just, this c1 and c2 is the total number of distinct count of characters in left and right. So for c1 is for left, c2 is for right. So we'll simply just count the total number of distinct characters in the left and distinct characters in the right. So how can we do that? It is just simple. We can put the elements of the left in hash map and elements of right also in different hash map. So we will just output their sizes. So it will contribute to C1 and C2. Size of map 1 and size of map 2. And now we will check if, so this is inside this for loop only, if C1 is equal to C2, C1 equals C2, we'll simply increment our answer. So this is the answer that we will be just out returning, right? So this is what a naive solution will look like. So if we analyze the time complexity for it, So for this for loop, it will take O of n, where n is the length of the string. And in worst case, when we have to iterate over all this right and left substring to check like how many different characters are there, so it will also take O of n time. So this is simply O of 1 operation, again O of 1 operation, and this is also O of 1 operation. So from here, we conclude that our time complexity will be O of n square because there will be two for loops. So now let's have a look at the constraints that are given to us in the problem. So the constraints are simply of the form 10 to the power 5. Because we know that in 1 second we can just perform 10 to the power 8 operations approximately. And if we are given in the worst case n as 10 to the power 5, so it will be simply 10 to the power 5 whole to the power 2, which is 10 to the power 10. So this will definitely give us time limit exceeded. So now let's have a look how can we optimize our approach. So let me just clear this out. So what we will do is we will simply keep the count of all the characters while we are iterating on each of the characters of string S. So for example, we are standing at this particular index, which is C. So we have iterated upon C. And now this column will contain the total count of all the characters till this character. So it will be like it will have two A's and B's will be 0, C's will be 1, and the rest of them all will be 0. So we are just not keeping it A, B, C, D, E, F, it will go up till Z. So because we just have taken three characters in this example, so that is the reason I have written till F. So now let's see how we will fill this grid. So firstly, when we are at this first character, so we will simply keep, if the character is A, we will simply increase the count to 1, and rest all of them shall be 0. And the next, when we move to the next character, so what we will do is we will add this A 1 plus we will check to the previous index like how many A's are there. So they are simply 1. So answer for this cell will be 2. And similar is the case with B. So how many B's are possible here? So there is no B at this index plus the total number of B's that were available to us till previous index, which is also 0. So for this case will be it is 0, 0, and for all of them it will be 0. So now in case we are standing at C, so what we will do is we'll first check for A. So how many A's are available to us up till this index? So it is at this particular index it is 0 plus how many of them were available till the previous index, which are simply 2. So the total answer for this index will be 2. And for the B, it is simply 0. And in case it is C, so we will add this 1C, 1 plus the total number of C's that are possible till previous index, which is 0. So for C, the answer will be simply 1. And for D, E, F, it will be simply 0, 0. And now for the A, if we are standing at this index, it will be simply 1 plus the total number of A's till previous index, which is 2. So the answer will be, in this case, will be 3. So if we technically also check that, there are only 3 A's possible up till this index, and that is our answer, right? So now let's check for B. B will again be 0. C will be 0 plus the previous one, which is 1. So the answer for C will be 1 in this case. For D, E, F, it will again be 0. And now when we are at this B, so the answer for A will be 3, which is 0 plus the previous one 3. And for the B, it will be, because we are standing at B, 1 plus total number of b's possible till previous index, which is 0. So total answer for this will be 1. Basically, these are all the counts that we are storing. And for C, it will simply be 1. So let me just fill it out. So for this, it will be 4, and here 1, 1, and 0. So this is how we will be filling this grid. So now let's take an example. Like what we are trying to do is by keeping these counts. For example, we had A, C, A, and we are just keeping the count of A's in this array, right? So for this, the count will look something like 1, 2, 2, and 3. So if we want to find out the total number of A's in this range, so what we will do is we will simply do like 3 minus this this previous index, we will subtract from it. Basically 3 minus 1, which will be 2. So this is how we can verify there are only 2 characters of A. And in case we are just required to find out like how many A's are available in this range. So what we will again do is we just need to keep one previous index also, which simply stores a value 0. So this is 0. Yes. So for this case, we will simply mark these two indices and subtract the value on these two indices. Basically 2 minus 0. So it will be 0. So that is what we are like looking forward to do something similar in this grid. So now what we shall be doing is, since we are given the string as A, A, C, A, B, A. So now we will be dividing this string into two substrings. So we just require one for loop like this. And then we will be taking out the total number of count of distinct characters in this string and in this string. So earlier what we were doing is we every time iterated on this string and this string to find out the total number of distinct characters. But after we have created this grid, our operations have really simplified to just O of 1. Or to be precise, it is just O of 26. Let's understand how. So just let me take one case where it is a good split. So if we divide it into this string and this string. So if we are required to find out the total number of distinct characters in the left substring, so it will be simply we will be standing on the C index, which is here, and we will simply find out the total number of values that are not equal to 0, which are this 2 and this 1. So they are basically 2. And in case we require to find the total number of distinct characters in this right string, so what we will do is we will simply stand on this A and subtract the value at this C, which is this A and this C. So why are we subtracting? Just to show you that since C is present in this left string, so definitely if we want to check that is it present in the right string, what we will do is if we stand at this A and this value and this value should be subtracted, which comes out to be 0, and hence this shows that the total number of C's that are possible available in this right string is 0. So similarly, we will be doing this thing for all the characters here. So we'll take 4 minus this 2. So it is basically 2. Here then we will again stand at 1 minus this 0, which is 1. And again we will go to this C character, 1 minus and this value, which is 0. And similarly, so the answer for all other values will come out to be 0. So now we have to see the total number of characters whose count is not equal to 0, which is 1, which is A character, second, which is B character. So here the count comes out to be 2. So hence they are equal. So hence this contributes to one of the answers of good splits. So this is similar to range query problem where we are not required to just update the values, but we are just required to find the total number sum of values in a range. So now let's see how we can code this problem. So firstly, I'll be creating a DP array of size n, basically 26 rows because there are 26 characters and n columns. And let me just define n. Yes. So now I'll start for loop from 0 to n and simply if I is equal to 0, I'll do something, or else I'll do something. So firstly, I am just trying to build this grid. So if I is equal to 0, we will simply just increment all the characters, like uh, on which character we are standing on. And in case we are at the next character, so we will simply increment these characters, and what we will increment them to, we will add the previous column also, because we are giving the total count till this index. So dp of s dot char at of I minus a of I plus plus. And in this case, what we'll do is I'll start another for loop from j is equal to 0 to 26 and j plus plus. And here we will simply dp of j of I is equal to dp of j of I minus 1. So basically here we are just adding the previous row, and then we will again do the same thing, which is this. Yes. So now we will be dividing the given string into two substrings, which is string left is equal to s dot substring from 0 to I, and string right to s dot substring from I plus 1 to n basically. So now we'll take out count c1 for the left substring, which is basically 0 initially, and now we'll apply the for loop from 0 to 26 because we have to find the distinct count of all the characters. If dp of j of I is not equal to 0, what we will do is we'll simply c1 plus plus. So this is for the left, and we'll create c2 variable for the right substring. So we'll do the same thing, but it is just that here it should be dp of I of j of I minus dp of j of I minus 1. Not exactly I minus 1. Here it should be dp of n minus 1 So from the last we are subtracting this last we are subtracting. If this is the I we are standing on, so we will subtract this I values. So yes, this is C2 plus plus. So now if C1 is equal to C2, we'll simply increment our answer, which is I'm creating the answer variable is equal to 0, and I'll simply return this answer. Now let's see, is it working correctly? Yes. So now let's try to submit this problem. So it is giving time limit exceeded. So the reason actually why it is giving limit exceeded is that we actually don't require to again write this left and right substring, because it will again take O of n time here. So this for loop O of n and creating these substrings will also take O of n. So we don't require actually them. So let's now try to submit it. If it is getting accepted, yes. So yes, we have got the right answer. So the time complexity for this problem is 26 multiplied by n, which is basically O of n. So I hope you understood the solution to this video, and if you appreciate my work, you can consider subscribing to my channel and giving thumbs up to this video. So let's meet in the next video. Till then, bye bye.